Before you listen again, be sure to pay it forward and share the following interview with anyone who you think can benefit from the information.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Veteran Entrepreneur Podcast. My name is Scott Brewer. I'm with my co-host, Elvin Lantigua. And today we have our guest, Travis Arnold with the Caisson Shaving Company. Travis, why don't you tell us a bit about your military service, what branch, where you served, all the ins and outs, what your job was.
Sure. 2001, July 1st, 2001. I raised my right hand and enlisted into the Wisconsin Army National Guard. I was as a field artilleryman. I did the delayed entry program. So I enlisted between the senior year of high school. 2 months after that, September 11th hit. So I had just enlisted, and from there kind of knew things were going to change. What I had thought was going to be a typical National Guard type of a enlistment was not typical by any means. Was immediately deployed out for OIF 2 and 3, came back, went down to Arizona on Operation Jumpstart and patrolled the border for a year, and then ended up becoming a deputy sheriff down in southern Arizona on the U.S.-Mexico border. Did that for about 10 years until I moved to California here in 2018 and worked for a company full-time doing rugged computers and electronics. And then 2 months ago, I started my own business in which I manufactured shaving soaps and also sell different premium shaving supplies.
That's awesome. What do you do as far as your full-time job now?
Yeah, my full-time job is with a company called MilDef. So we do the highly rugged computers, laptops, tablets. We do extreme amounts of customizations on them. So we'll do different mil-spec connectors and help to integrate those into different military systems. So it's still definitely in line with the military community. 99.9% of everything that we do is DoD related. Very little civilian applications for what our computers are. But yes, I'm business development, technology, sales type role with MilDef.
So can you explain how you got to from that, like that main job? How you use it to leverage your job right now? And also, if you can go into your product just a little bit, as far as exactly what it does. From what I understand, it's a balm you can almost dry shave with. You can shave anywhere you're at. So if you could just touch on the leverage of your job and how that works.
So, as I indicated, 17, I enlisted. So my entire, adult life had pretty much been as a different variant of government employee, whether it was military, law enforcement, public service. And then upon my departure from law enforcement, I definitely found myself at an odd crossroads. It's like, what do I do with my college, my education? Everything that I've done was law enforcement. And that's a very, very narrow scope. You can't branch out very far from that. Wells Fargo doesn't want to hire you because you used to be a cop. You're not going to have job offers being thrown out because, you could arrest people. It's just not something, and same thing with my military thing. Nobody really cared that I could fire 95 pounds of high explosive 24 clicks downrange. Just didn't help me at all. But what I was able to do is I was starting to network. I started to build up my connection of people in the industry. And a lot of people kept saying, because of your veteran status, because of your military time, you need to be looking at something in the DoD contracting world. What do you like? Oh, I love computers. Cool. Start looking at, military-oriented computer companies. And I looked, and sure enough, right here in Orange County was a company that did that. Applied for them. And one of the first questions is, what experience do you have doing sales? And it's just like, crap. I did 10 years of sales as a cop. I pulled you over. I gave you a ticket. And my goal at the end of that traffic citation is that you would thank me for the ticket that I just gave you. I wanted you to be appreciative for the punishment that I just gave you because—
I've never thought about it like that. This is a brand new way of thinking. The next time I'm pulled over, I'm just going to, when he calls me, pitch me your idea, please. That's a great way to see
You've
it.
got huge amounts of law enforcement officers and our military personnel that have verbal skills. They have the verbal judo to be able to be fantastic salesmen. And sales is not the slimy sleazeball used cars thing at all. It's developing a rapport and a relationship, becoming friends with people, being able to just shoot the shit with somebody and converse. And then during that conversation, you just kind of slowly build up your value as a person and what you can bring to that relationship. And by the end, they're going to be willing to sign whatever piece of paper it is. Just the same as by the end of that traffic stop, I might have given them $1,500 worth of tickets, but they realize that, oh, this was my mistake. And so thank you for saving my life and giving me this ticket,
Yeah,
So
that's I'm actually in the law enforcement realm myself full time. So I don't have this. I'm a DoD police officer, so it's a little bit different because we don't do a high amount of traffic stops. But yeah, I can see the way you kind of put that was a very interesting take, and I'm going to start using that approach. Like you should thank me for my ticketing you right now.
never use those words. If you
Yeah,
use
there you
those words, I
go.
promise you're going to be in the lieutenant's office explaining that complaint. But that general premise, that mentality for it is exactly how you should go about it. Is if you can change their mind and instead of you punishing them, but you giving them value, if you can create value off of a ticket. I mean, an easy way of doing it too is, you stop somebody for speeding and you end up just writing them for a seatbelt infraction or something like that. That was an easy way too of getting an easy thanks out of the ticket. But for the transition side is we get so laser focused in on what our job description, what our MOS is, what our designators were, and you think that that's all you can do. We've got some amazing DoD SkillBridge programs right now, and when I've been talking to some of the SkillBridge people, it's just like, what, I don't care who you guys send me anybody. If you want to send me recruiters, great, I can turn a recruiter into a salesperson. You want to send me a career counselor, I can turn a career counselor into a
Can you explain what
salesperson.
SkillBridge is real quick?
Yeah, DoD has a transition program in which your service members that are about to ETS out of the military can go and do a 6-month internship with a private company. They are paid by DoD. They're still full government employees at that point, and they can go get industry hands-on experience with a private company. And there are some fantastic organizations doing this: the Amazons, the Microsofts, the Raytheons, the Lockheed Martins, soon MILDEF, that are allowing soldiers to come in and do internships with their programs. And it's good because these internships aren't just a free 6 months of labor. That company has a contractual obligation to have a high probability of hiring that soldier after that as well too. So it's not a guaranteed job. You can't go in there and be a shipbag specialist, but you still have to you're going to have a little bit of a peace of mind knowing that if you go in there with a good work ethic, you're going to have a job when this is all over. And so that helps to alleviate some of the stress and the tension of the transition, which you're already going to have that foundation set up. You're already going to be invested into a company. You're going to have the connections and the time with them. And right now during the coronavirus situation, there's a lot of telework and remote work opportunities for this. So now is actually a perfect time to start looking into SkillBridge.
Yeah, my wife actually, we were down at Southcom down in Miami. It's a huge combatant command responsible for Central and South America. And she was an analyst down there. About, I'd say 8 months before she got out, she started looking at the SkillBridge program. And it's not something that I think is widely utilized, but she looked at it and she's like, wow, this could be of some serious value. So she started looking out to private contractors. She's in the intelligence community. She looked at other DoD entities, other federal agencies, and she actually scored an internship with DEA out of HSI Miami, Homeland Security Investigations Miami. So I don't think she did the full 6 months because she was basically the first person to sort of, I guess, bridge that gap into DEA. So there wasn't really an established relationship there, but she worked it. There was a DEA liaison down in Southcom that worked at Southcom, and she worked, and talked with this lady, and this lady talked to the people that she knew. And eventually over the course of a few months, she was able to actually get this opportunity. So she did, counter drug, counter threat finance stuff out of HSI Miami. And then that's how we sort of launched up to here to DC, where I'm at now. I was already working on Southcom as well as a security guard for the Department of the Army. And, I transferred up here, and then she used her experience down in Central South America and with the DEA to land a job, a really, really good job with a big name contractor up here. So it's definitely something that, for those of you who are listening, who are transitioning and getting out, it's an important program that people are overlooking, and you cannot overstate the benefits and the potential opportunities that can come from this. So
We'll go ahead and
thanks for
drop
bringing that up.
Yeah, we'll drop it right here because I definitely want to know exactly more about that myself to share with others. So I appreciate that. Well, going back to how you leverage your company into creating your job, to creating your own company. If you can elaborate into that a little bit.
So things just kind of continued to brew, and my personal knowledge and skills, it kind of expanded, and I definitely had an itch and a desire to become an entrepreneur. It's not that I don't like working for people. It's just you never have that same level of leadership when you're outside of the military, and I very much like the military style of leadership. So I knew that I'd like to be able to create an environment in which it's very similar with it. So that was the first thing was, I want to work for myself at some point in time. But then, you have to figure out, are you going to do a product-based company, or are you going to do a service-based company? And I mean, service-based company, all I could really do is maybe start up a security company, but there's enough of them out there. The regulations in California suck. I don't want to deal with it. So let's do a product-based company. Product-based company, you've got to have market value. You need to do the competitive analysis and all this. And I'm like, okay, cool. I can handle that. That's what I do full time. So first things first is figure out what is something that people are going to want to buy. The easiest way to figure out something people are going to want to buy is what is a pain point and how can you associate yourself to a pain point. It's my time to the military. In the military, you go out to the field, dry shaving sucks. Plain and simple. If you're any branch of the military, Air Force and Navy excluded, when you go to the field, you're going to have to dry shave. I mean, you could try to bring shaving cream or gel, but it's going to leak. It's going to explode. It's going to get all over your rucksack, or you might just get lucky. So soldiers have just always dry shaved. There's this man up, you just do it all the way from basic training times. Well, for half of the guys out there, they've got the faces that can handle dry shaving. They don't have the razor burn or the bumps, and they can deal with it. Well, the other half, we do have terrible reactions to the dry shaving, especially in the neck area with the burns, the bumps, and it can be problematic. So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to figure out. So I started toying around with different shaving products. Going back in history, just 30, 40 years ago, shaving soap was the way to shave. You never used creams or gels or anything like that. Those were created out of convenience. And it's kind of like a McDonald's effect. People just want to be able to, push the button, get the product in their hand and, slap it on their face. Instead of just taking a little bit extra time of working up a good lather, getting a solid slick on your face and protecting your face while you shave. So shaving soap is where I wanted to go with this. I mean, it's a hard puck style product, so it's going to be easily transportable. I don't have to worry about things like TSA regulations or anything like that. So, if you're a business traveler or any type of an adventurous gentleman, this product will work just as well for you. And then for our soldiers, I wanted something that they could bring out to the field. Soap will melt. It's inevitable. Most soaps have a melting point at about 130 degrees. That's every inside of a Humvee that I've ever been in. So when the soap melts, I wanted to make sure it was in a leak-proof container. But when the soap solidifies, when it resettles, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't ruined. So that's where I really had to tweak with the formula, and that's why I rolled out with a glycerin-based soap, so it can melt and resettle and melt and resettle, and it'll be just fine. And when it comes time to shave in the field, if you're a bougie lieutenant colonel, you can bring your brush out to the field with you and do that. Otherwise, if you're a straight grunt, you can add just a little bit of water into the can, lather up with your hands, and get a little bit of a slick on your face to be able to at least get a comfortable shave when you're out in the field.
Now, when you do that, is it immediate? You got to give it like a minute or two for it to settle in and loosen the hair?
No, it's pretty much immediate. It's going to take 10, 15 seconds of lathering it in the can to be able to start to soften up the soap and have the water mix in and interact with the soap. But you'll notice that the top layer of soap will start getting smooth, and you're going to start feeling your hands getting slippery, and just add it to your face. And what's good is you don't need anything to clean up with afterwards. That light glycerin-based soap, when you shave it off, your face is going to be clean. You're not going to have that sticky, greasy feel like you would have with a shaving cream or a gel. You're going to feel clean after that.
So you can essentially shave, once you're done shaving, you don't have to necessarily rinse if you don't have the opportunity to.
No, very, very little water. And so that's what I was doing a lot of the tests with is, can I just, take a little bit of the product, put it on my face, and then just hand wipe it off, or if I happen to have a hand towel or my sleeve or whatever it is, and you're able to. So
this is great for the office too, like not even just the field, but like even me, maybe I need to get a quick shaving before this interview. I could have gone right to my little bathroom, pulled something right out of my pocket, and just fixed everything the way I needed to. So this is some good stuff.
And with the shaving soaps too, you're going to get the last little benefit of the scents. Your foams or your creams typically don't smell, or they'll have a chemical based smell. These I'm able to use either different fragrance oils or essential oils, so you're going to have a little linger of scent with it. I also have an unscented variety of it as well too. So if somebody does have sensitivity to fragrance oils, or if they're going to be going out hunting, or and keenly enough that scent is called sniper scent. So it's the unscented version. But yeah, there's a bunch of different applications for it, but the big pain point that I really wanted to solve and address was that dry shaving in the field.
So let me ask you, because I think this, at least the process of this is really important, is how did you go into the development of the product? That's kind of be a daunting task, right? Like, I've got this idea. I have no experience, no knowledge base. How do you go from idea to product? Can you just sort of briefly detail that process?
I was fortunate enough to not be completely oblivious to the process. Being from rural northern Wisconsin, things like making butter, making cheese, making ice cream, making soap is something that you grow up knowing. And we didn't do it all the time, but the process of saponification and things like that weren't completely foreign to me. Thankfully, in the day of Google, it was easy to do a lot of the research into a lot of the different things. So what I started off with right away was just different formulas, current formulas that are out in existence for the different types of shaving soaps. Shaving soap specifically will be a different formula than your body soap or your other types of soap. And so that's what I was kind of able to boil down into the three main varieties of the tallow-based fat soaps, your olive or your oil-based soaps, or your synthetic glycerin-based soaps. and then, you know, just kind of doing a comparative analysis on the strengths and weaknesses of each one of those.
And so how long did it take you to render a product that, you know, you could bring to the market? I mean, how long has this experience sort of lasted?
I started toying around with it March, April timeframe. The first can was sold in June. So I went to market really, really quick on this. After I made my first test batch, I did, you know, personal testings with it. You know, my family were all victims of me running around with a shaving brush, lathering their faces, and, you know, making them stay with this soap on their face for 30 minutes and wiping it off. And, you know, for me, I've been washing my face 3-4 times a day with it just to make sure that I'm not going to have any issues, because I do have sensitivity. One of the unfortunate reasons because of my departure from military and law enforcement was because of medical reasons. The particular medical condition that I have has an extreme sensitivity to some of these allergic type products. So if you could have an allergic reaction to a certain product, I could have it, even though I'm not necessarily allergic to it. It's an unusual condition. But so I knew that if I was going to break out with it, there was, you know, a possibility somebody else could. If I'm fine with it, it means that a lot of people are probably going to be fine with it. I've had some great testing just from online volunteers, just reaching out to wet shaving communities and asking, hey, if you've got sensitivity, I want you to test out my product. And so far, I've had great reports back from it. People that have never been able to use products on their face, or only been able to use electric razors, are able to use my product and actually be able to get a close razor shave for their first time.
On top of the close razor shave, are there any accessories that you are already working on, or that you will be working on as far as to complement your balm?
Yeah, for right now, I'm going to get the line of shaving soap down and solid. There are already a lot of accessories on the market. I have quite a few on my website already through resale programs or drop shipping programs. But for me, my manufacturing will be pretty much strictly into the shaving. So my end goal with all of this, and what I'm trying to do is, when that soldier shows up to boot camp, to basic training, and they go to the PX for the first time, I want that product there at the PX. Yes. I want them to be able to pick this up right away. That's my end game with all of this. And if I can get this available through AFES or MCX or the different exchange services, that's my I think my bouncing pad to bigger and better things. You know, maybe then I'll start looking at aftershaves or different balms, or, you know, double-edged razors or straight razors or things like that. But for right now, it'll be the shaving soaps.
So what is your manufacturing like? I mean, are you doing this stuff out of your home? Do you have,
Yep.
Okay, you do.
Wow. Okay.
So how time consuming is that? I mean, relative, I know you have, I'm assuming you have a family, you have a full-time job, and now you've started this company. I mean, how much time does it take for you to sort of create a batch, and how much do you make?
My margins are good. Thankfully, with the time that I had at MilDef, I was able to get enough business acumen to understand that I need to be able to make sure that I'm covering my cost. I need to have a built-in profit margin for myself. I also need to make sure that if I'm going to have distributors, that I've got room built in for my distributors to take profit on this. So I've already got everything set up where I'm, you know, I've got my good, I'm not going to release my profit margin here publicly, but I'm doing fine.
I think that's important to say, just the fact that, you know, you can take a product. A lot of people try to think of like, oh, I need this product that I can like outsource from like Mexico or China and then get a sample back. But the fact of the matter that maybe you can come up with a product that could be designed in a big batch in your own home, maybe that could change the way some entrepreneurs are thinking of the next solution to solve.
I'm bootstrapping this all the way through. I don't have angel investors. I don't have loans or anything to start this. I took $1,000 from my savings to buy my first batch.
Wow.
Nice job, dude.
I bought all of the cans off of Amazon. I bought a small batch of the soap base and the additives and the mixtures that I need with it. So my initial cost per can was higher. Obviously, as I'm growing, I'll be able to cut Amazon out of the mix for my supply chain, and I'll be able to go directly to manufacturers, or maybe only have one or two steps between the manufacturers. Instead of spending $1 or $1.50 per pound of the soap base, I can get that down to 25 cents per pound. So my price per can will lower, but I'm already set up right from the get-go that I'm profitable at these low quantities.
And I mean, you don't have to go into numbers, but how are sales since you've gone to market? I mean,
I've got actually I'm actually about to have an order ding right now too. So it's always fun. So the website was launched on June 15th, and to date, I've had, pull my year to date.
Oh, what is your website, if you don't mind me asking?
Caisson-shaving.com.
All right.
So to date, I've had a total of 53 direct-to-consumer sales, just about to hit $3,000 on total sales.
Wow.
Nice job, dude.
Average order value is $61, and that's impressive because each can is only $15. So I'm hitting huge on upsales on every one of these things. So by offering those resells or those drop shippings or creating shaving packages, I've really bumped up my average order value. But yeah, it's good. The very first month, that half month of June, was $500 of sales. That was almost enough to make up that $1,000 investment that I made. July was $1,800 in sales. So I'm technically already profitable at this point, and we're a third of the way into August. I don't think I'm going to hit 3,000 this month, but I'll be pretty close.
And so when you get these sales, are you packaging it yourself and then mailing it yourself?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Are you packaging it yourself and mailing it yourself? So that like when you receive an order, you have like boxes ready to go, or how does that shipping process to get it to that person? How does that work?
So I set everything up through Shopify, and it's really good because they automate a lot of the things for me. I mean, I go in, I click print shipping label, and I've already got competitive pricing on the shipping. I don't have to worry about, do I need to go with USPS or UPS or FedEx on this one? It'll show what the cheapest or the different shipping options are with it.
You have a ship station?
I don't know.
Okay. Are you on stamps.com as well?
Nope. I've just done everything right through the Shopify built-in shipping thing. So, and that very well could be. I mean, I'm still learning quite a bit about this. There might be a better process out there that I just haven't run across yet. But then things like working on the mailers. I just recently ordered a bunch of custom boxes, so the cans will now come in a custom box that has my stamp right on the top. Man. So I mean, you're getting everything curated, designed, felt. I mean, I want to create. I mean, it's not a lifestyle brand yet, but yes, it is definitely an experience. And I want that theme and that feel of it being a military veteran-owned company to be right from when you get the box in the mail. Already that, hey, I got the package from Caisson Shaving.
That's awesome, dude. I love to hear that, man. This is motivating me right now. Like, this is awesome stuff. Let me ask you a question. How much does each can last?
That's actually probably my biggest problem is that they last forever. And I've had to question myself if I need to maybe go to a smaller can, but you know what, the industry standard, it's been these 4-ounce cans, and I'm not going to deviate from it. But I mean, I've taken my first cans that I made back in May timeframe that like I said, I've been using multiple times a day on myself and lathering everybody in my family and extended family, and the can is still lasting. My estimated life for a can is going to be about 4 months of daily shaves.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're also saving people a ton of money. So I mean, that's the upside to it, right? I wouldn't necessarily look at it as a net negative. I mean, that's a benefit to the consumer.
Well, you know, when you're presented with situations like right now, Dollar Shave Club just shot themselves in their foot with the law enforcement community, and I wanted to like jump into that void where a lot of people are fleeing Dollar Shave Club because of their political stance and message. I can't do it because it's like, I'm not going to send you a can of this every month because you're not going to be able to use it fast enough. So I would have to kind of rethink some of my strategy with it. Maybe I'm just not going to be able to do a subscription model. But then, yeah, it's a huge savings by switching to a shaving soap, and even switching to like a double-edged razor versus your cartridge style razors. I switched to using those safety razors in July, so I've got about a month and a half, and it's good. Takes you a little bit longer, but you don't get the irritation. Your skin doesn't feel raw afterwards, and that's just because you only have one single extremely sharp blade making a pass every time. Whereas with your cartridge razors, I guarantee you everybody's guilty of using those way too long. They probably should have been thrown out, and so now you're pulling and you're tugging on those hairs, and it's not good. And if you look on my Facebook page, there's actually a video showing like this microscopic video shot of what it should look like when a hair is being cut. You know, if you're using a dull blade, especially on a dull cartridge blade, you're making 5 passes every single time with dull blades, and you're just scraping your skin up. So yeah, you take a double-edged razor. I change the blade every single time. So I'm getting a brand new fresh blade, and my cost per blade is 3 cents.
That's gonna take it because I definitely shave like my Mach 3 lasts like 2 months, and it's probably not good. But no, I wait till like that. It's like a 5-cut rule. Once I shave and I see like 5 cuts, it's like, all right, now it's time to change.
Man, you're jacking your face up by doing that, but I understand why. I did the same thing because they're expensive. I mean, your Mocs or your Gillettes or whatever it is. I mean, it's $4 or $5 per cartridge.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get a double edge. I mean, you're talking about pennies per blade. There's no reason why you're not going to switch that every single time. And you don't even have to do it every single shave. You could do it every 3 shaves, and you're still going to be getting, you know, extremely, you know, sharp blades on your skin. So, yeah. So the cost savings overall, I mean, you buy your double edge, and you can get cheaper ones. You can get them for $20, and it's going to do a good job. You can go extreme. There's some of these enthusiasts that will buy $150 double-edged systems, and you know, they're pretty much, you know, gilded and just deluxe systems. But still, you know, that's that one-time investment. And then your blades are pennies, you know, per replacement. So you're saving money with that. You're saving money with the pre-shave products as well too. So it's good all around.
I would love to see a how-to video on how to shave. I'm not saying that people don't know how to shave, but there's definitely certain aspects, like you're saying, that I've never considered. You know what I mean? So just like something like that, just a how-to. I would love to look for something like that. I probably will after this.
Yeah. It's on the plans. It's in the schedules. I've got some marketing events coming up. I'll be contracting with a big name media group to do some pretty cool marketing material, Clandestine Media Group. They're the same group as RE Tactical. They do a lot of the Black Rifle Coffee Company action shots. So I'll be taking in with them. They're going to do two awesome scenes for me. One's going to be, that tier 1 operator looking guy standing in a bathroom shaving. And then the other one is going to be out in the middle of, hopefully a Fallujah looking scene with that tier 1 operator kicked back in a barber chair getting a full shave with the kid on. So, being able to show that rugged, tactical use of the soap. But yeah, at the same time, there's a lot of marketing that's when you asked about my time, it's not making the products. I can make about 400 to 500 cans a day myself. And so that'll take me a very long way in growth. But 90% of my time is managing social media and the networking on there.
So just going back to the subscription thing, would you consider making smaller boxes where, like, because I don't know how many different scents or soaps do you have, and maybe you can make just smaller, I guess, individual sized cans that could maybe last a month. Maybe you could do some sort of trials to figure out what would last roughly a month, and then, sort of keep breaking it out that way. And are you planning on expanding the product line, or you have like just a kind of like a base 3 or 4 different soaps?
I've got 4 right now. I'd like to get at least another 2. 6, I think, is going to be that comfortable number.
Okay.
I want to have scent profiles that will cover pretty much anybody and everybody. So right now I've got the basic standard gentleman scent is kind of the sandalwood. It's a traditional scent. So that's what I call the Bohica blend. It's amazing that civilians just never ask what Bohica means, but every single military member busts up when they hear that. The second one that I came out with was Fire for Effect. So I wanted this to smell like, sitting in your recruiter's office. So it's a strong coffee scents. You can definitely hit some of the tobacco leaf sweetness, and then a touch of vanilla with it, just because it kind of rounds it out. But yeah, it's love that scent. It's bold. And then the next 2 that are going to be releasing this month, the Sniper scent, which is obviously unscented, and then Code 4, which will be a fundraiser that I'm going to be doing. But that scent is phenomenal. It's very much like a beachy, ocean, fresh citrus type of a smell. It's a winner.
Can you
I'm about
touch
to
on
hop
that
on right now.
Here,
He's selling me over here. I'm like, man, I got to be on the website.
I don't want to say, but yeah, we're probably 2 new customers by the end of this interview for sure.
So the Code 4 and Scott, with your law enforcement thing, I don't know. Do you guys use Code 4 as one of your radios?
No, we actually don't use any civilian, brevity codes or anything like that. So
Arizona, anyways, where I was a cop, Code 4 is pretty much universal, and I think even here into California and a lot of places, Code 4 is used for that "I'm okay" type of a radio call sign. So if somebody calls in for a security check, asking if are you okay, you call back Code 4. Or if you're rolling by a scene and you see somebody on a traffic stop, that officer that's on the stop will usually just throw up the 4 fingers to let that other officer know that they're Code 4. If you don't see the 4 fingers, that means you're gonna flip back around and back them up. So Code 4 was the idea with it, and then I don't want to profiteer off of the thin blue line. But I also do want to be able to support 2 really important organizations right now during the coronavirus situation, because my business has been doing well. I'm very fortunate to have started a business during the middle of coronavirus pandemic, but the nonprofits, they're hurting. They can't do their typical events, their fundraisers and things like that. So the 100 Club of Arizona and also the Jesus Cordova Memorial Foundation are going to be the recipients of all the profits from the Code 4 scent. So Might not be the best business decision starting out, just to donate all the profits from one of the varieties, but those two organizations, I definitely think they're well worthy of it.
Yeah, well, make sure you send us or you can email me back and send me the links to those so we can help support that, put that in the show notes. This way people can click the link and subscribe and support those causes, because that's good stuff. Last thing I want to ask is the name Caisson, right? I work at a base here in Arlington, and they have a Caisson unit.
Yep.
Is there any relationship to that? I mean, can you sort of walk us through that?
Yeah, so a caisson refers to the trailer, the wagon that's pulled behind. Usually it was a horse-drawn type of a trailer. It's more of a callback, for me anyways, into the Civil War era artillery. The caissons would be what would carry in the ammunition and the powder for the cannons. In the Army side of things, the Army song was originally "When the Caissons Go Rolling Along," which was then switched to "When the Army Goes Rolling Along." So it's definitely a big call out to the artillery, also to the Army in general, but also respect too, because now for the final services and the respects for the officers, the old guard does have the Caisson unit, which will carry the soldiers to their final resting point. So kind of a three different types of meanings for the name, and all of them are completely relevant.
Yeah, that's really cool. I when I saw the name, I immediately thought of that, because that's where I work. I work a lot with the old guard, and it's something that I get to witness almost on a daily basis, and it means a lot to me. So when I saw that name, it definitely hit home, and I was like, man, this is good stuff. Like I totally want to get behind this. So kudos to you. Elvin, do you have anything else to wrap up with?
Yeah, one last question for me. If you could have any piece of advice for a veteran thinking about being an entrepreneur, what is it?
Do it. Have you guys ever seen that Shia LaBeouf video where he's doing his little motivational speech?
Do it, yeah.
Give me a half of a second here, but like, I've always had myself prepared for this at a moment's notice. Just do it.
There it is.
I always have that ready, because as ridiculous as his speech was, it does definitely have a good message to it. Do it. You have a skill set and an ability that was, provided to you for free by the U.S. government. You've got natural leadership ability. You've got determination and integrity and ethics that our civilian population just don't have. You are already set up for success to become an entrepreneur. All you need to do at this point is figure out what the hell you're going to do, and that's the biggest part. On one end, you could do another veteran-owned clothing line if you want, but my recommendation is take the little bit that I had talked about earlier, is finding the pain point, finding something in the market that you can fix. And I think that's where you can quickly find success.
Well, that's awesome. I really like that. Thanks for providing that video graphic there. Please tell us where we can find you.
Find me on Facebook, and please reach out even on my personal Facebook. For Facebook for the business, it's facebook.com/CaissonShaving. Website caisson-shaving.com. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, pretty much all of the major social media networks. Reach out.
Well, we appreciate you having you on. We will love to have you on in the future, maybe, 6 months from now, just to check back in, hear where you're at, see where the business has gone, and, get some sort of update from you. So thank you again on behalf of the Veteran Entrepreneur Podcast. Elvin, any last parting words?
No, man, just thank you so much. Like I said, amazing. What it sounds like, only, if I'm correct, 2 to 3 months since you started this, and This is where you are now. You really take that do it to the next level. And I can't wait to, like you said, talk to you in the future and see where you are just, twice the time from now, So just continue doing what you're doing, and great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, take care, Travis. Stay motivated.
Like what you heard? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Veteran Entrepreneur Podcast brought to you by DotMilGear.com.